Okay, let's just come back to equilibrium here. Perfect. Legs are in two pieces. Just as they're meant to be. Did we just get... We just got blasted off again, didn't we? I spoke too soon. Okay. I'm gonna jetpack around. Ha! Take that, planet. You thought you had me, didn't you? No. And if I want a really good joke, something horrible is gonna happen to me right about now. Come on, I need a good hook for the intro. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Astrophysicist Plays Outer Wilds. Here with the secret message for the small minority of my subscribers who are actually watching this video. And that secret message is, watch to the end for bonus kittens. Yes, every one of my videos has bonus kittens at the end. Now, you might have noticed bonus kittens, but there are more bonus kittens. New bonus kittens. You can watch them grow up with a new little clip at the end of every video. So, you're already a dedicated enough fan to watch this series, my least watched series. I think you have it in you to go for the bonus kittens as well. Alright. Okay. On with the game here. So, when last we left off, we were on Giant's Deep. Now, let's go to the map. Log onto it, engage autopilot, and we'll head back there again. So, last time we found that there was a probe launch module on Giant's Deep off of this orbital ketting, which you see kind of in the center here, that had been knocked loose kind of right at the beginning of each loop and had fallen to the core of the planet. Now, we can't get to the core because there's a strong current in our way and we don't know how to get through it. Now, somehow that probe launch module got through it, so there is a way. We just don't know what that way is. So, we are going to follow what other leads we have on this planet and see what we can find. So, let's look around. Previously, we'd talked to Gabbro here, and had told us about a research facility here. And, ooh, that was a good impromptu landing. Didn't even need to go into the landing view. Okay, yes, spacesuit is on this time. Good. Okay. So, let's search around here, see what we can find. Maybe someone else on this planet just figured out how to get below the current. Okay, so what's this? Kind of looks like a... kind of a cartoon of a tornado, maybe? So, yeah, there are plenty of those on that planet. Kind of makes sense there would be some of those. Alright, so, yep, gravity on these floors, okay. Ooh. Okay, so we're kind of sideways, and it looks like there are kind of facilities on either side of this pair of islands. Alright, so this kind of looks like the orbital cannon that we saw. Alright, so maybe this is related to it. Okay, projection pool, let's... There we go. Projection stone. So, control module, so... Yeah, we've already seen that. We've been up there. But each of these has two uses, so we can put it in here too, and find out what the gnome I have to say. Cassava, I have bad news, Avens. Yarrow says there was a problem with the proposed power source, so the orbital probe ketting won't be asked to fire. Yep, I think we heard that last time and didn't clarify what the problem was. Avens, I hope you're pulling my locomotive limb here, Cassava. Cassava, I wish I were, my friend, but no. They aren't certain they can fix the problem, so the orbital probe cannon is on an indefinite hiatus. Cassava, tell Privet and Mallow they should return from the cannon. My spouse and I will remain at the construction yard for now. Avens, an update. Mallow and I will join you and Daz. Ooh, interesting little effect. We've got some water on the outside of our spacesuit here. Just slightly blurring the view. Cool verisimilitude. Okay, Avens says, an update. Mallow and I will join you and Daz. Privet left to visit her brother. She fears Idea may feel responsible. Okay, so not much new information there. We already kind of found out about it, just getting some of the individual reactions to it. Okay, anything else to find around here? I kind of hear a tornado coming, so there's a good chance this island is about to be blasted off into space. Let's see if we keep our feet on one of these rings. Ooh, yes. Okay, so with our feet on this ring, we don't get disconnected from the island. So let's stay here until we land, and hopefully that'll allow us a soft landing free of leg cardiology. Yep. Okay, let's just come back to equilibrium here. Perfect. Legs are in two pieces. Just as they're meant to be. Did we just get... We just got blasted off again, didn't we? I spoke too soon. Okay. I'm gonna jetpack around. Ah, take that, planet. You thought you had me, didn't you? No. And if I want a really good joke, something horrible is gonna happen to me right about now. Come on, I need a good hook for the intro. Yeah, no, okay. Alright, now where were we? Yeah, right here. Alright, so what is there on this side of the island? Okay, another stone here. Guess we'll have to take this back to the other side. Whoa. I was trying to go forward there, but somehow... maybe the buoyancy of the water got me going backwards. Okay, let's just walk. Ooh, interesting. The gravity's gone negative here. Huh. I wonder what was going on there. Yeah, it's right here. Then as I get a bit closer, it goes positive. I wonder why that is. Maybe it's like the buoyancy of the water is pulling us up and our boots have to hold us on. I don't know. Could just be a bug, but I'd like to think it's on purpose. Okay, so Brittle Hollow. Let's have a look. Okay. Ooh. Something just happened around here. Not exactly sure what. Oh. So over here, they've got showing 2 tornadoes. And looks like... yeah, each seems to be rotating in a different direction. So maybe they're talking a bit about that misbehaving tornado too. We'll have to get there in person to check out, see if they have any more information on it. And over here, what do we have? Cassava. Conway, Daz, and I were lifting the orbital probe, we're lifting orbital probe cannon components into orbit for assembly, and one somehow sank down beneath the current. Yeah, so they also found it's possible to get there. Daz. Cassava convinced me not to try to recreate the phenomenon myself using other cannon parts, but we're very curious to know what happened. How could something pass through the current? Conway. My gratitude for your interesting question. This is exciting. Spire constructed a model of Giant's Deep here at Brittle Hollow's Southern Observatory, and it reveals how an object might sink below the current. Okay, so we've got to go to the Southern Observatory, and we can figure that out. Conway, I'm unable to grasp the answer by looking through the projection pool. If I visit the observatory, would you kindly explain? If you don't mind the trek beneath the surface of the South Pole, I'd be delighted to see you. There are two trailheads, one at Brittle Hollow's gravity cannon and one at the Tower of Quantum Knowledge. Okay, going way back to the beginning of this conversation and branching off in a different direction. Daz says, Conway, you should have seen it. We thought it was impossible for any cannon components to sink even partially below the current, but ours sank straight to the core. Okay. And there's something else to translate here. 7 minutes, 53 seconds ago, long-range probe successfully launched from the orbital probe cannon. Okay. So, not much new there. And let's just look at the projection stone again. They said they couldn't glean the answer there. But... oh, yeah, this is the other projection stone. Let's use the one that shows Brittle Hollow. Okay, so what do we see? So there's another wall there, and a tablet. So if we get there, the tablet can probably show us, and the display of the two tornadoes going in opposite directions. Well, yeah, we'll have to get there and see. Might have something to do with the tornadoes, maybe not. Okay, so let's just pick that up so it doesn't project, and I don't really see anything else we can do around here. Ooh, running low on oxygen. Yep, another good reason to get back to the ship. Yeah, okay. Alright. Oh, refilled from the trees there, and oh, a scroll. Let's see. How does it... okay, so this is another way to get to know my text. Cassava, this is it. We finished building the final orbital probe cannon module and are ready to send it into orbit around Giant's Deep for assembly. Our next step will be to send Privet up to the orbital probe cannon to install the probe tracking system. And branching off a different direction. Cassava says, to all my friends here at the construction yard, my gratitude for your tireless work. I had given up hope, but I truly believe this cannon may actually succeed where many other attempts have not. Daz, if I know my brother Avens and his spouse will want to launch the probe with as much power as possible, I'm worried the cannon will break under the strain. Yep, they certainly do. Daz, I propose we give Avens and Mallow a slightly lower maximum power setting than the absolute maximum possible to create room for their enthusiasm. They saw that coming, didn't they? Good thing they did. Daz, are you going gelatinous, honest love? I'm delighted by your words, but they're atypical for you. Cassava, if I'm ever half as good as Mallow and Avens behave together, Daz, you may launch me from the orbital probe cannon. Okay, so I don't see anything else around here of interest, so let's head back to the ship. I forget exactly... we're off in space again. Let's just head into the ship, weather the storm in here. So I forget exactly how many islands Gabbro said there were of interest here. Let's count. We've been on the one Gabbro was, and this one. There was one other with that big, like, ice thing and some, like some dark bramble stuff. And couldn't find anything interesting to do there. Yeah, he said like 5 or 6, so there's definitely a couple more at least. Maybe this counts as 2, or even 3. Okay, let's look around. Yeah, try to avoid the tornadoes. Ooh, that one's a lot bigger than the others. Okay, we'll just quickly... Okay, yeah, this one with the archway. Yeah, I think this is the one Gabbro told us about, actually. So, let's get here. They've set up a nice landing spot for us. And let's see what we have to find on this island. Okay. It should be... Yeah, we should be able to jump across. Okay, got it. Not exactly the best platforming physics in this game, but it gets the job. Statue workshop. Okay, can we get it here? Can we send a scout through this hole? No. Okay. Well, let's look around here. Okay, somebody set up like a vertical pathway. And these gravity stones will help pull this down till we fall back. Yeah, it's nice and peaceful when we're out in space like this. As long as we remember our spacesuit. And splash down. Okay. Okay, so the tone is coming from those crystals. They make a bit of a sound. That might help if we ever need to find some but can't see them. Yeah, okay. What do we have here? Some sort of building. Something on the ground here. So the same symbol here. I wonder what that kind of ring thing is for. Ooh, some nice lightning effects in the clouds. Yeah, and anything way off here. So, what's this? Huh. It looks like kind of like a puzzle, but I don't really have any control over it. It feels like it wants me to grab the rings and spin them so all the designs line up. But, yeah, no. Can't grab onto it. And this thing, I kind of saw it a bit from my spacecraft. How does this say? Phlox, welcome to Giant's Deep, friends. I'm excited for you to meet the statues. Phlox, if I'm not in my dwelling, I'm likely in my workshop below, inside the island. Okay, let's check out the workshop. Well, we saw that entrance, but we couldn't get into it. So, let's have another look. Maybe there's another way in. I've been playing so much Tears of the Kingdom recently, my gut says get below the workshop and then ascend into it, but I don't think we can do that in this game. Yep, there's that other island going by. Interesting that we've got different velocities on each of these islands. Okay, yeah, so we went back over the archway to get there. We'll have to look around, see if we can find another way into the workshop. Maybe there's like a cave or something underwater. But let's see what else there is over here first. Lammy, they're going to test the memory statues tonight. Flock says it could be dangerous, so he can't come. Lammy, but what if we didn't use the door and snuck in the other way? Yeah, so there is another one. Does anyone want to? Taggart, Flock specifically told us not to do that. Well, then we have to, but that's just how video games work. Lavy, I really want to see the test too, Lammy, but that's a huge risk to take. We probably shouldn't. Maybe Phlox will let us see a later test. Huh, okay. Something's maybe dangerous with memory statues. Okay, we can see something below us. We'll have to find a way to get down there. And there's at least one other way to get there. A lot is decayed here, but I don't think we'll find the solution just from a way having opened because of the decay, since they knew about the other entrance way back when this was all intact. I'm not seeing much else of interest up here. Okay. Let us head back down and just keep our eyes out for any other way we might be able to get inside here. And let's also just remind ourselves which of these two islands that's on, or two halves of the same island. Okay, yeah, so it's on this one, the one we didn't park the ship on. And yep, there's a tornado. Okay, getting on the crystals for safety. And weathering the storm. Whoa. Okay. Oh. Comet. Cool. And gently back down. So far, so good. No major leg injuries. Now, getting back to the ship. Well, that's too high to jump, but we can just dump in the water and swim over. Okay. So, I'm just gonna swim around underwater here myself. If there's an opening, it's possibly too small for the ship. So, can I just get up into the workshop from beneath? It's not easy. Yes, it is. Okay. Yeah, so that's the other way. So maybe what they meant about dangerous is swimming underwater to get here. Okay. So, let's see what we have around here. Unlock, please. Thank you. Okay. Oh, so the door was just locked from the other side. Okay, that's nice. And what do we have around here? Okay, so this Looks like half-carved memory statue. 3/4 carved memory statue. Okay, gap here. Yeah. Okay, now fully carved memory statue. So this is probably the one Gabbro saw. Okay. Flux. Yarrow, would you kindly step back so Daz is closest to the statue? When pairing, the statue will choose whoever is in closest proximity. Flux. See how its eyes have opened? That tells us the statue is paired with Daz. Okay, so that's what happened with me. So did the statue pair with me then? Now, no matter where he is in this star system, Daz's statue will record his memories and send them to the Ash Twin Project. Okay, yeah, so it did seem like the statue was doing something with my memories. Yarrow, this is extraordinary sculpting work, Phlox. He has outdone himself again, hasn't he? And now that we have our first successful pairing, we can test my memory storage prototype. Daz, each statue will send a single Nomi's memories to his or her own storage unit within Ash Twin. I guess it doesn't require Nomi specifically to work, though. Phlox. Each storage unit will be equipped with a mask, the statue's counterpart, which will be able to send those stored memories back to the corresponding Nomi. Okay. And what's this? So there are 3 things here, kind of arrows pointing in the circle. So that's the statue with eyes open. Is that the mask, maybe? And maybe that's what the Nomi look like, I guess. Alright. Sun is exploding on us. Let's see what else we can find around here before it goes off. Quickly, let's read and just double check. We've got it to pause time while let's see. Yeah, I think there's a way to pause time while reading. Oh, where is it? Where is it? Ah, there we go. Freeze time when translating text. Freeze time when reading ship log. Freeze time when talking to each other. Let's turn that on as well. That'll make it a bit more convenient for voicing it. Does prevent character animations. Yeah, I think that's worth it. Okay. So we'll have enough time to read this at least. Raimi, I've installed the masks inside the Ash Twin Project Flux. They look beautiful, although I feel as though I'm being observed. Raimi, it's comforting to know the statues will not pair until the project succeeds. What project is that? Otherwise, I imagine the experience would be hard to endure. Flux, ideally, they'll only need to activate once the project succeeds. As a safety measure, however, the statues will also activate in the event of equipment failure. Raimi, they will? Why is that? Flux. If anything goes wrong with the Ash Twin Project, the statues and their masks will make us aware of the situation and enable us to fix it. Otherwise, it would be possible for us to remain permanently unaware of the problem. Raimi, I hadn't thought of that. What a profoundly horrific fate that would be. Well, we're still losing oxygen while translating. Hopefully, well, the sun's gonna kill us soon enough anyway. Yep, there it goes. I'm not sure time actually froze there, but yeah. Okay, it feels like we didn't quite see everything there was to see on that island. And there could be another island as well. So I am going to skip ahead in the recording a bit here and get back to that island and look around, see if there's anything else. Be right back. Oh. Okay, cracked my head on an island. Let me try that again. Okay, here we are. Back, and hopefully not right about to crack our head on the island. We are going out into space, though. But if we play our cards right, yeah, we can just get over here. And, ooh, something over there. Yes, I don't think we've been up here before. And looking around... Yeah, okay, that was good timing. I'm not sure it's even possible to jump here without using the tornadoes to blast the island off and then maneuvering in 0G, so good time. Okay, so what does it say here? Blocks. I'm curious, is sending a being's memories back in time the same as sending the being itself back in time? Okay, so that's probably what's happening to me. My memories are being sent back in time. Flux. As an example, if we were to send my memories back in time, is that the same as sending me back in time? Not my physical body, but my essence. Daz. I imagine they're two different actions. Wouldn't both actions be effectively the same? Daz. Suppose that time was being rewritten. I believe that this is different from receiving memories from what is effectively the future. I'm not so sure this. It's Ava, but isn't the end result identical in either case? Okay, musing about philosophy of time travel. Yeah, that's a mind bender. Is there anything else up here? So, okay, so it's just them talking about time travel there. And previously I was over there and got to the projection pool before the sun exploded. Is there anything else to see in here? Not seeing very much. Okay, well, in that case, I am going to pause for a second and get out the dreaded whiteboard. Yes, I know. Or maybe you love it, I actually don't know. I hope you love it. Okay, let's test. Okay, there we go. Got it. So, let's say we have a timeline. So, this is time 0, etc. You know how time works. Goes 0 seconds, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, because 4 is death, and 6 seconds. Okay. So, here's what they're describing going on in the game. At 0 seconds, we started a game. We dithered around for a while. Then at 1, we got paired with the Nomai statue. Then we did some stuff. And then eventually, when we get to around 5 seconds or so, the sun explodes. We die, and we never get to 6 seconds. But then, whatever they're doing activates, and it takes our memories, not our physical body, so I'll just use a different color for just our memories, and somehow it sends them back in time to... Actually, I think it sends it back to 0 before we got paired. I'm not sure that really makes too much of a difference. And then we're back there, And then we start going along again, but this time with the new memories. And then this catches us in a loop. Eventually the sun explodes again. We go back to start again. And we come along again. Each time rewriting the timeline as we go. So, what does physics have to say about this? You're watching a channel called Astrophysicist Plays. You came here for the physics commentary, so how does physics work in the real world? Well, one thing you might have noticed here is that each time we go back and change the past, we have to rewrite the timeline doing something different. It's not staying the same. Now, from a physics perspective, time is a dimension like space. So if I draw like a quick sketch here, we could have, when we're talking about different dimensions, they're basically perpendicular to each other. You can think of this like latitude and longitude or whatever, and we're just describing the position in space. And then time is just like one of these. So imagine that instead of that being the y, this is the time axis. And all of space, time, is just one set of dimensions. Now, obviously, time is special. It doesn't work exactly like the other dimensions. The way we describe that in physics isn't really relevant here, so I won't get into it. But it's just a dimension like any others. So when we have different dimensions, so imagine like we have a quilt. We can describe what's going on in any square of the quilt by its x position and its y position. And we just ask, okay, what color is a given square of the quilt? So we would number them, like this would be your x dimension, and then this would be your y. Oops, sorry. I almost put in the dreaded number. So we would say, okay, what color is the square at x position 1, y position 3? You would say black. This is simple stuff. And time is a dimension like any others. So we could just substitute this out, put in time. So what's the color at position 1 time 3? Black. Now, time does work a bit differently. So instead of having physical things at different points, we have events. So, it doesn't work quite like a quilt, or a kilt for that matter. Yeah, sure. This is a weird tartan pattern, but this is our time kilt. Okay. By the way, time kilt is the secret word for the true fans. Just don't tell anyone else who's only here for the Portal videos. Time kilt. Okay. So in our time kilt, each of these is an event that happens at a particular place and time. So a different event might be like in the real world. It takes place on January 1st in New York, or it could take place on January 2nd in New York, or January 1st in London. All of those are different places in space-time. So hopefully this is pretty simple and obvious to you. But what are we doing in the game here? We are rewriting time. So if we want to describe something that happens in the game, like let's say, okay, what happens on Timber Hearth 1 minute after the game starts? Well, in the real world, if we give a specific place and a specific time, there's only one event that happens there. But in the game, there are multiple loops. So it'd be like, okay, first the time kill looks like this, but then we go through again and we modify some events. So as we're passing through, we cover up things in different places. So on the second loop, it looks like this. So what's effectively happening is that a single time dimension isn't enough to uniquely describe every event that takes place. We need the position, we need the time, and we need the number of the loop. So if we have any sort of time travel that changes the past, we need an extra dimension of time. So, well, what if we don't have an extra dimension of time? Think about this the other way. So, if time travel can change the past, there must be an extra dimension of time. Now, we can do a little bit of logical arithmetic with that and rearrange that statement. If we don't have an extra dimension of time, we can't change the past through time travel. So, put it another way, this is called the contrapositive. So, let's just show the logic here in a simpler case. So, if something is a robin, then it's a bird. Yeah, so I'm a bit slow to write it out like this. So this is your basic form of a logical statement. If X is a robin, then X is a bird. Or another way to say this would be all robins are birds. Now, there are various ways you can manipulate this, but the most important, because if this is a true statement, then this other form is always also a true statement, is called the contrapositive. And it goes, so basically you flip the order of these two. So the first statement becomes the second, and the second statement becomes the first, and you also negate them. So I'll put like a minus sign for each of those. So if X is not a bird, then X is not a robin. So if you think about these two statements, they mean the same thing, but it might be more or less useful to look at it in one direction or another. So we know that all robins are birds, and this also means that all non-birds are non-robins. So what we can do with this is, it turns out that doing this flipping the order and negating each statement is always valid if the original statement is valid. So if we go back to our time travel case, okay, if we can change the past, then we have multiple time dimensions. I'll just say multiple times so you don't have to sit through me drawing it all out. So we can take the contrapositive, all of that, and say if not times, that is multiple time. If we don't have multiple time dimensions, then can't change the past. So with just a little bit of illustrating how space-time works and a bit of elementary logic, we've actually shown something extremely important about time travel here. That is, if we don't have multiple time dimensions that we can work with, then it's impossible to change the past. So if the universe isn't structured to allow us an extra dimension to work with, then going back into the past and changing things will never be possible. So, it could be the universe does have this, but, Occam's razor, it's more likely the simpler thing, and it would be a simpler universe if it doesn't have this. And, so far it can go into the future fine without it. A universe can exist perfectly without an extra time dimension, so it seems more likely one would arise without this extra dimension that it's only going to need if it wants time travel to be possible. So effectively, this means that time travel, which changes the past, is very unlikely. It would need a specific universe set up to allow it, which is unlikely. So, now, in a video game, yeah, of course they can set it up that way. They program the game, they create the universe, they want to change the past, they set up multiple time dimensions. So what is allowed? Let's go back to our timeline. And I won't sketch everything out, but what if we go back from here, and we are very careful not to change anything? Is that possible? Well, it turns out we're not completely sure if it's possible from a physics perspective. We don't know if there's any way to actually set this up, but there doesn't seem to be any law of physics that would prevent this from happening. And, we get into contradictions if we can change the past, but if we don't change the past, there don't seem to be any contradictions that happen. Now, what we call this in physics, if you want to look it up, I'll give you the term here. We call this a closed time-like curve. So if you want to get perspective on how physicists actually talk about this, just copy this term and give it a search on the internet, and you'll see physics discussion of it. So let me just explain what each of these are. So curve is basically a curved path through space-time. So imagine we have our time kilt again, x on the horizontal axis, time on the vertical. Anything we sketch out is a curve. Now, what does it mean to be time-like? Well, that gets to time-like basically means it's a path that could physically be traveled by something experiencing time. So, so think about yourself. What path can you take through space-time? Well, the simplest is you just sit there, do nothing, go into the future. Future time travel, very easy. You just wait. Now, you could also move. So you increase your x as you go into the future. You can move a different direction. All of those are valid. Now, you do eventually hit a limit. That limit is the speed of light, which we use the letter c for. You can't go faster than the speed of light. You can get very close to it, but you can't exceed it. So what we call time-like are basically any curve that never exceeds the speed of light. If it does exceed the speed of light, and purely exceeds the speed of light, like imagine this path, we call that a space-like curve. And you can think of it. So now that I've drawn it up this way, so imagine like we have a point here and a point here. They differ only be in time, so we call them time-like. Or if we have the original point here and one over here, they differ only in space, so we call them space-like. And on an intermediate, if the point lies along the speed of light, we call it light-like, because they differ at exactly the speed of light. So a time-like curve is one that you can physically follow. So the paths any of us take through life are always going to be along time-like curves. Okay, so that's one of the three words. So what about closed? So a closed curve is very simple. That means it goes back to where it started. So this curve is not closed because it starts over here and ends over here. But this curve is closed because it goes back to where it started. So basically, you close it, you lock it up, you get back to the start. So a closed time-like curve is a path you can travel through space-time which takes you back where you started. So going back to our time kilt, if you start here, a closed curve through space-time might look something like this. Now, the problem here is to close the curve, it looks like it can't be time-like at every point. We start off time-like, but then we have to turn around, and right here it's space-like. To be a closed time-like curve, it has to be purely time-like. So how would we time travel? How would we create a closed time-like curve which allows us to get back? So, so far it looks like actually the laws of physics do forbid this. Well, the trick is that the laws of physics forbid going into a space-like curve only locally, which means that your speed relative to your surroundings can never exceed the speed of light. But if space itself happens to be twisted in just the right way, you can exceed the speed of light relative to other things in space. So, going back to our time kilt. So, let's say it looks something like this. But let's say the time kilt itself bends around and loops back. In this case, we're imagining a case where this is the time axis, and the entire universe, as you go forward in time, will eventually loop back and restart. Now, if we don't have another axis of time, we won't be allowed to change anything when we restart, but we could take a path through time that, so at each of these points, space is always going to be perpendicular to the axis of time. So we could follow a path that's always basically perpendicular to space and come around and back where we started. So if the universe allows us, we can take a path on a closed time-like curve. But you see, the trick here is we need the universe to allow us. And that means the universe has to be set up in a very specific way. And it turns out it is physically possible for the universe to allow some parts of this to happen. That we can have the fabric of space twisted and stretched. This is kind of what general relativity is about. It basically says that if you have flat space and then you add a heavy mass to it, the space will distort around the mass. And in cases where the mass is extreme enough, you can get a wormhole through space that connects points that are very far apart. So here you would just travel along, whoop, dip through the wormhole, and you're out somewhere completely different. And, maybe there's another path, like way out here, it connects, but you can take the shortcut. So normal space, you would have to go around this loop, but over here, you can take a shortcut. That's physically possible, but again, it requires space to be set up for this, and we don't have any way to create wormholes. there are a few ideas of how they could be created, but none that we could take advantage of. And honestly, even when they are created, they're going to be subatomic, most likely. You might be able to get an electron through, or photons. Maybe you could send information through. You won't be able to get a human through, most likely. There are also some ideas where wormholes would connect not just over space, but over time. It ends up being next to impossible for it to work out. There are a few ideas of how you can set up a wormhole to allow time travel, but as we've kind of advanced our understanding of gravity and quantum gravity, it seems every time someone comes up with a clever idea for how a wormhole could help allow time travel, the laws of physics come in and said, oh no, but if you try to do it, I'll just destroy your wormhole. No more wormhole for you. It's almost as if the laws of physics are set up to forbid time travel. So it seems like we don't have the extra dimension. So if someone does come up with a clever idea, the fact that we don't have that is going to butt in somehow, kill off our wormhole, and prevent us from doing any time travel. Okay, so I actually got into quite a lot of other things there. So I think it's best I go back to the game here. We'll take a breath. Maybe let's just do some meditation here. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And before you know it, the sun has exploded to acclaim us all. Well, I think that's probably a pretty good place to leave this episode. I hope you enjoyed it and the discussion of time travel here. And I will see you back again for next episode. Thank you again very much, and if you watch to the end, don't leave the word time killed in the comments. We're not letting anybody else know about that. Instead, comment on how cute the kittens are at the end of this video, and I'll be sure to let them know. Okay? See you later. Bye. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and click the bell to be sure you get notifications of new uploads. See you again soon.